Hi everybody, I'm Sandra.
I'm Ben.
I'm Ben's mom.
I'm sorry.
Today we're going to talk about life as an addict, and we're going to share some of our experiences. And I know for me, sometimes phone calls have been really tough back when Ben was full-blown doing the hard crap. I'm going to call it crap. And my fear of never seeing Ben again, you know, we were just talking about this earlier, Ben. It's like, there was a time where every time I'd see you, I'd hug you, and I'd start crying because I'd be afraid that it'd be the last time I'd see you. It tore my heart out. But there was one phone call, we were talking on the phone, and I knew that day that as soon as I got off the phone, Ben was gonna go do some crack. And it was really hard. I don't know, do you remember that?
Yeah. I sort of didn't even want to get off the phone myself because it was around the time when we were trying to be clean, but I was in like one of the worst spots to be. That's why we started to be clean. I remember being on the phone and me not even wanting to get off the phone because me not even knowing if I'm going to talk to her again.
Yeah, it's like...
But we still ended up hanging up, and I still did what I did.
Yeah, and it was hard. We were on the phone for probably 20 minutes to half an hour with me trying to convince Ben not to get off the phone, not to go do crack. And, you know, that was a time where I was trying so hard to make Ben stop. And I know today that if it was to happen, I know I just have to hang up and say, do what you got to do. I have no control. And it tears my heart out because we just, you know, the thing is, as a mom, as a parent, as a caregiver, the last thing you want to do is see your child suffer, and it's really hard. But you know, Ben's been through a lot. He's gone through blindness, paralyzed, all kinds of things, and you know, he was doing cough syrup. And
yeah, some people don't know that. You should be advised that maybe somebody that you know that's addicted could maybe start doing cough syrup too, and that's legal technically. But yeah, it's just as bad. It's just as bad for you. And you can still get really messed up and not remember things, or it messes with your insides. And
it damages you. I mean, Ben always had a different drug of choice, so he went through a cough syrup phase.
A cough syrup phase.
And where he was living, somebody went to go check on him. How much did you drink?
Like 2 bottles, 2 of the big bottles, and normally 1 bottle is enough, more than enough. And I ended up chugging back 2 within like a half hour. And when it hit me pretty hard. And
where he lives, they check on you know, the people to see if they're okay. And I guess somebody came knocking on your door.
Oh yeah, somebody knocked on my door, and I was blind. I was literally blind. All I saw was blackness. So I stumbled to the door, and I'm trying to open up the door, and I go to talk to the people, and my eyes are like 2 different directions because of how messed up I was, and like, you know, like, I don't know.
So they ended up calling the ambulance.
Yeah, they ended up calling the ambulance, and then like it's just another one of the times like I just got messed up. And
yeah, and so
I was blind.
He was blind, and you know, people think, wow, you're blind and you still kept going back. Well,
there's worse. I've done worse.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories here. So you know, he ended up going to the hospital, and it affected your heart. Yeah. That's the thing. It doesn't just get you all messed up.
Well, my heart was probably from other drugs, but...
Well, yeah. There's been a lot of health issues with all this. But there was another time, and, you know, I was going to pick him up. I thought we were on, you know, a good road. I spoke to him during the day. I was at work. I said, okay, I'll pick you up. I'll call you on my way. And so on my way to picking him up, I call Ben, and he's like totally looped. He can't even talk. And I'm like, where are you, Ben? And I'm behind Shoppers. I'm like, okay.
I was just behind a dumpster.
Well, he just said behind Shoppers. So I'm like, okay, just stay there. Don't move, because I could tell, like he couldn't even form words. So I said, I'll call you when I get off the highway. So that's like a half hour of driving, like, oh my gosh, what am I driving into? So I get off the highway. I go to call Ben, and his phone is off. And that is my worst nightmare, because when Ben's phone is off, that means there's no contact. I don't know if he's been picked up by the police. Is he in the hospital? I call the hospital. He wasn't there. I went to where I was supposed to meet him. He wasn't there. He wasn't behind Shoppers Drug Mart.
You know where I was? I was on the floor in front of on the concrete, paralyzed from head down. I couldn't move nothing. I remember I was running and I was so messed up. I don't know what I was doing. I was, to be honest, I was going to grab more drugs. That's what I was doing. While I was waiting for my mom, I was going to get more drugs at the same time, and ended up tripping, sliding my knees on the ground, getting up, falling, and then I ended up crawling. I couldn't even push myself off the ground. I ended up started crawling, and then the crawling even got too hard, and then I couldn't move. I was just lying there in the sun, and I thought I was gonna die. I just gave up. I gave up. I started looking at the sun when I was just lying on the ground, and people were walking by me, not doing anything. I'm like, yeah.
And you couldn't even phone me.
I couldn't even phone her. I couldn't see straight. I tried to move my arm a little bit. I managed to move it slightly, but like I was pretty much paralyzed fully, and I was just lying there until somebody I know ended up walking by and asking me if I needed help. I was still able to talk, but I just couldn't move at all. And
yeah.
I told them I can't move and I need help, and then other people started to come around me and ask me if I'm okay, and then everybody started calling the ambulance, and
yeah.
And then the ambulance came and they're asking like what happened, and you know.
So Ben is paralyzed on the concrete. I'm looking for my son because I've lost complete contact.
All at the exact same time. The same time I'm on the concrete is the same time she's going to Shoppers, and she's just getting to Shoppers.
I get to Shoppers. I don't see him. So I pull out, and then I see these two sketchy looking guys that normally I wouldn't follow, but they were going behind Shoppers. So I do a U-E in the middle of a 4-lane road. Follow these two guys. They're behind a dumpster. I'm like, you know, have you seen my son Ben? And the guy, you could tell they were messed up on something. It's like, oh yeah, I'm kind of worried because I can't get in touch with him. I'm like, I'm his mom and I'm looking for him. So eventually, they said he was going to go find me. He wasn't there, and somehow you finally got your phone and you called me, and he was in the hospital. So I had already called the hospital by this point. You hadn't been admitted yet.
I was in the process of getting picked up. It was all like at the exact same time.
Yeah. So, you know, these are just a few stories. Like, you see us here today. We're talking. We're communicating. Life is better. And this is what I mean about
It wasn't always like that.
No, it was not. We couldn't
even... It was a pretty dark path.
It was very dark. We couldn't be in the same room. I would cry every time I'd see you because I'd be afraid that it was the last time I was going to see you.
We would argue a lot, and if we even talked, it would be an argue. And
yeah.
We would go time without talking. And
so that's just a few stories. We're going to leave it at that for now. You know, I'm just going to look over at my notes, but, you know, there was a lot of different things. We're going to get into the behavior changes and the different things that an addict and a loved one goes through when struggling with addiction. Anyway, that's that. We just wanted to give you a glimpse of some of the
tragedies.
We
can call it tragedies.
Tragedies, blindness, paralyzed, not wanting to get off the phone.
Dying, and coming back to life.
And this is why we're celebrating the Spirit to Live, because
that's why, even though I'm not 100% clean, we're still celebrating me being clean because of how bad it was, to the point where I was dying almost every day.
Yeah.
It's a miracle I'm alive.
Oh my gosh.
So
yes.
That's why I count my successes.
Yes.
No matter how small.
That's right. So let's keep the Spirit to live. Remember, where there is breath, there is life, there is hope. Right? Yeah. So, like, subscribe, share.
Comment. We always read the things.
Yes. Thank you for your positive feedback. Take care. Peace.
Peace.